Do you love wild horses, beautiful lighthouses, the great outdoors, and with a small ghost story thrown in? Well, you'll love this episode of Loving the Real World. We started our trip on the north side of the islands, and we didn't have a hard time finding any place to eat. All the food was pretty good. I'm only showing you the unhealthy foods that we ate on this trip. No reason to show you anything good like that. The trip lasted like 8 days, and we never ate the same thing twice. But one place we did eat at was the Black Pelican. It used to be an old life-saving station at Kitty Hawk. Food was good. The restaurant was pretty full, and we sat down at the table, me on one side of the table and my wife on the other. After sitting there, I kind of smiled because I heard someone snoring. So, me being me, I turned around and to see a person maybe getting ready to fall out of a chair or something. Well, to my surprise, I turned around and the noise stopped, and the table behind me was empty. So I turned back around, and a few seconds later, I started hearing the noise again. So I asked my wife, "Do you hear that?" She said, "What?" "Someone snoring." And as soon as I said that, it stopped again. So now I'm thinking I'm going crazy. We enjoyed our meal and headed back to the hotel. It was getting late, so we climbed in bed, and I get to thinking about this snoring at the Black Pelican. So I get on the old interwebs to see if there's anything about the Black Pelican. Well, it turns out the Black Pelican used to be a life-saving station. James R. Hobbs, a station keeper, was having trouble with one of his men, Philopoulos L. Daniels. Daniels accused Hobbs of using government paint to paint his private boat. One day, Daniels insulted Hobbs' wife. The story says he may even spit tobacco juice on her. When the investigators showed up, due to the report Daniels made on Hobbs for using government paint for his private use, the investigator began questioning Daniels. And as he was questioning Daniels, Hobbs steps into the room. Daniels starts running his mouth and threatening Hobbs and reaches into his pocket to start pulling out of his gun. When he does, Hobbs pulls a double-barrel shotgun from the closet, and using the investigator's shoulder, he shot Daniels. Daniels still pulls his gun out of his pocket and starts to cock back his pistol. Hobbs lets him have the second barrel of the shotgun, killing him instantly. So after reading this, I looked a little deeper and found out many people have seen doors closed by themselves, heard footsteps in the building, and after closing, they could hear chairs move around in an empty restaurant. There's some waitresses that don't even want to work after closing or be in the building by themselves. The Outer Banks has many ghost stories, so if you're into this kind of stuff, you might want to check it out. We're not really into that type of stuff. I just ran across this info just by hearing somebody snoring in a restaurant that wasn't there. 16 years after the killing of Daniels, the house served as a weather bureau and a telegraph office. Wilbur and Oval sent messages back home and received vital weather information while doing their first flights. And that brings us to our next visit, the Wright Brothers National Memorial in Kill Devil Hill, where they had their first successful flight in 1903, which makes me question everything I learned in school. I thought they flew from Kitty Hawk. Am I wrong? Does anybody else know about that? Leave some comments below. Anyway, Kitty Hawk is 3.6 miles away. Well, maybe I just remember it wrong, but I don't know. At the time we were here, they was doing some upgrades to the memorial. But overall, it was still very nice and interesting. After leaving the memorial, we checked out the beaches at Kill Devil Hill, and they're beautiful. They seem like they go on forever, and most definitely worth a good walk. Anyway, Then we headed over to the Elizabethan Gardens. Elizabeth Gardens is located in the Fort Raleigh National Historic Sites on the north end of Roanoke Island. I'm sure you heard about Roanoke, yeah. Uh, they say it's kind of like a lost colony. I don't know. Anyway, the gardens are a maze of beautiful landscaping with all different types of flowers and plants and a wonderful collection of Renaissance statues. It's funny, you see all these flowers and then you see this one flower all by itself. Just beautiful. One of the many statues is of Queen Elizabeth I. They're all type of statues throughout the park. I love these trees. I don't know what type of trees they are. Please let me know if you know. Now, to one of the best tours I have ever taken. The Wild Horse Adventure Tours. This is a tour of the northern part of the island where the wild horses are. And the only way you can reach it is by beach. So you start at low tide and you need to get back before, I guess, high tide because they say sometimes the road just completely disappears. Well, only four-wheel drive vehicles are allowed on the beach. Yes, you can rent or bring your own four-wheel drive if you like, but much of the island is private, owned by these tour companies, so you couldn't actually see the whole island without breaking some laws. Our guide lives on a small island just north of the Outer Banks and takes a boat from his house to his truck he leaves here on the Outer Banks. He said that lets him get an idea where all the horses are before he starts the tours. The Humvees are pretty comfortable and they give you a good view from them. The guide was not afraid to take them through some small lakes where the water came up to the door, well, maybe a little higher. It was pretty sketchy, but it was still fun. This tour lasted a little over an hour, and it was well worth it. Some beautiful horses, and at the time there was one donkey left. But anyway, if you have a chance, this is definitely one of the trips you need to take, and it's well worth the money. On the way back from the tour, we stopped at Duck. Yes, there's a nice little town called Duck. It has a great little boardwalk on the sound side with many of the painted horses and painted Pegasuses scattered around on the boardwalk. We watched the sunset, ate at the restaurants, and did some shopping at the little shops. Really was relaxing. Our next stop was one of the prettiest lighthouses on the Outer Banks, Currituck Beach Lighthouse. Most of the lighthouses on the Outer Banks are made of brick. This one is not painted, so it really makes it stand out. Just totally beautiful. Anyway, it stands 162 feet tall. The light from the lighthouse can be seen to 18 nautical miles and flashes every 20 seconds. While you're here, go ahead and visit the whole park. Now, when I was a kid, I would love to have one of these trees in my backyard. Wouldn't that be fun? Now, the next lighthouse we stopped at was the Bodie Lighthouse. It was very interesting. One of the things to remember, there are snakes in the yard, venomous snakes, so stay on the sidewalk. Don't mind. This lighthouse is 156 feet tall and can be seen up to 19 nautical miles out. The next lighthouse we saw was the Cape Hatteras Lighthouse. The lighthouse was in danger of being swept out to the ocean The beach was eroding away, so it had to be moved 2,900 feet. The 4,830-ton lighthouse was lifted and slid into its new place. The current bulb has 800,000 candle power and can be seen up to 16 nautical miles away. Well, it's time for us to get all our ducks in a row and head back to the ferry. I hope you enjoyed this session of Loving the Real World, and if you did, like, share, and subscribe down here. Hey, leave your comments about your favorite vacations. Anyway, we're on our way back to the mainland. Oh, we missed this little lighthouse. Maybe the next time. Talk to you soon. See you later.